Welcome to the GrowthPro Edge. We're here to help scale your business, build stronger teams, and sharpen your leadership skills.
Well, I'm so excited to have both of you here. Welcome, Amber. Welcome, Rila, to the GrowthPro Edge.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
All right, so we're going to start off talking about the generational thing, which is something that is an issue, a source of frustration for, I think, every generation, is a source of frustration in every business. And maybe we're going to have some lessons learned here and some opportunities for our own growth and how we deal with different generations. So we are joined today by Amber Lambert with Betson. So Amber, start us off and tell us, first of all, what's your generation, girl? And secondly, a little bit of your history there with Betson.
Oh, well, I would say I'm Generation X, but I'm kind of on the cusp. So I'm zillennial, I guess. So I kind of lived in two spaces, but I'm Amber Lambert with Betson. I got started in this industry years ago, probably as old as Rila is. When she was younger, we started our own family entertainment center, and now I work for Betson, and I help people make more money with their arcades.
Beautiful, beautiful. And we are joined by your amazing and fabulous daughter, Rila. Rila, what's your generation? And tell us a little bit about yourself.
My generation is I'm part of Gen Z, and I kind of grew up in the industry with my mom, as she said before, with her own family entertainment center, and I've gone to all four of the last IAPAs, working with Sega and then also Apple Industries. So yeah, I really enjoy it.
Very, very good. All right. So first, want to say that you are a senior in high school right now. You'll
Yep.
be graduating this May, and then amazingly joining the Air Force, which is fantastic. Thank you for your service and congratulations on that.
Thank you. Yeah.
She does
Uh,
currently work in the industry at a
I,
trampoline as well.
say that again.
She works in a trampoline park currently.
Oh yeah.
There you go. There you go. So no rest for the wicked. You're working. You've been in the workforce, not only working with different companies at IAPA, but also working at a trampoline park right now.
Yes.
So as we start this conversation off about generations, every generation has their own luggage that is hoisted upon them by other generations, right?
Yeah.
The boomers have their baggage. I'm Gen X as well. We've got our own baggage. The millennials have their baggage, and the Zoomers have their baggage. And I am a firm believer that in the history of the workforce, and since generations have become something that we're conscious about, the newly entering generation gets labeled, they're lazy, they don't want to work, they don't have the same work ethic, right? That was said about Gen X, about millennials, about Gen Z. I'm sure it will be said about Gen Alpha as they begin to enter the workforce in the next 4 or 5 years. But my first question is, what is the one misconception about your generation that you feel is really, really off base, Rila?
I think that one of the misconceptions about my generation is that all of us are lazy, because even though there are a lot of people in my generation that don't want to work, most of us do and appreciate being able to get a job and work for money and just growing in that work environment. Like, I'm currently working at a trampoline park, and so most of my coworkers are also Gen Z, and like I've noticed just how hard of workers they are, because so many of them are growing and starting from the bottom, being able to just like do the base level stuff, and now they're able to work at parties and just do this more complex stuff. So I would say that that's the biggest misconception.
Mhm. Absolutely. And, that frustration of we're lazy that kind of leads to being discounted,
Yeah.
right? Do you feel like sometimes that, oh, they're just kids, they can't handle this?
Yeah, I definitely think that I worked before my current job. I worked at a bowling alley nearby, and I felt like because I was younger, I wasn't given the opportunities that I should have been able to. Like, I wasn't able to work late at night. I wasn't able to um, have the same. I wasn't able to work leagues, like all these different growing points that I would have enjoyed and been able to actually um, grow into.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is wildly unfortunate
Hmm.
and also, forgive me, incredibly stupid.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, that's not the way to grow a business. That's not the way to grow your people. And hopefully, for managers and supervisors, we ought to be looking to grow our staff because that's only going to help our business.
Yeah.
So, yeah, right. So overlooking that or dismissing somebody because of their age is incredibly short-sighted and frankly dumb. Amber, as someone who has been in this industry and many other industries, you've been an owner, you've been a worker, you've helped other businesses grow and learn. What do you see is the best opportunity that people have in overcoming that bias?
I think a lot of people will look and prejudge based on obviously their own, lens that they see or have been raised with. So some of the things that we were told was a no-no might not be that way anymore. Like it used to be that, tattoos were taboo and piercings were taboo, and now you see them everywhere, and it's a lot more accepted. And I think older people tend to have trouble changing mentally and just having an open mind. I mean, Rila's had friends over and they've been some of the most impressive people to me that I would love to hire because they just have a confidence about them that I never had at that age, and it's kind of cool to see.
Yeah, no, that is fantastic. It's funny you're mentioning tattoos and piercings. I remember when I was in my 20s starting out, it was for that business that I was working at, it was required for women to wear pantyhose.
Things change, right?
This was not 1950, ladies and gentlemen. This was in the early 2000s. And right, just like, really? Really? But that notion of those older generations, well, this is what we came up in. So therefore, it's the only way, and everyone else must subscribe to that, right? Be it the appearance changes that have happened, hair color used to be a thing, and now, everybody's got fun, fabulous hair color. Did it kill your business? No, it did not. Uh, having the tattoos, having a piercing, those shifts and expectations, I think, are really important and unfortunately happen slowly
Well, and
over
it's a fun
time.
business, right? It's a fun industry. So why shouldn't you have fun colors in your hair? Like, why is that a taboo thing when everything else is bright colors?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, Riley, I want to ask you, you've had several jobs, which is, the first point in absolutely deflating the this generation is lazy argument. Here you are, you're a senior in high school and you've had multiple jobs. So I want to ask you, what makes a job worth it for you?
Just the environment in general, because whether the job is good or not doesn't matter so much as like if you're treated right by your managers or your coworkers. I've I've gone through so many jobs, and I quit a job because of just I wasn't the coworkers weren't right for me, and I the flexibility wasn't right for me, but the job itself is the same quality as the job I have right now. It's just the not being able to be given the same amount of respect. That's what kind of makes the job worth it to me.
You mentioned a couple of things that I want to talk about a little bit because being treated well means different things to every human being on the
Yeah,
planet, right?
yeah,
But I think generationally there's gaps between what we consider to be treated well, right? Like
yeah,
as a Gen Xer, there are things that I dealt with, and the way that was the standard way to handle employees would not be accepted today in any shape or form, which is good.
yeah.
So, being treated well for you, what does that mean? What does that look like?
That's just like showing recognition and kind of just shouting us out. I mean, like, oh, you're doing a good job. It can be just like verbal too. A lot of my managers at my current job have said to me, "Oh, you're doing a great job," especially when I was just starting out, and that gave me more motivation to keep working. And we also had this thing where if managers seeing you do something special or just doing a great job, they'll write your name down and it gets put into a raffle, and I actually was able to win a $50 gift card for Amazon, which it just like it felt good. I was like, wow, like I was actually recognized.
Yeah, no, that's
And
fantastic.
yeah, I also had another job probably when I was like 15, 14. I worked at the fair, and it was like it was kind of a heavy job. I was working like 10 hours and having to talk to people all day. It was pretty stressful, but then at the last day, my manager gave me a $100 bonus, and I gave me a little note too. And it just like little things, even little things like a gift card or just verbal recognition, that makes me feel good and like needed. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Now, I want to ask you, was it the money or was it the act of being recognized?
I think it's the act of being recognized because even though obviously the money is nice to have, it's still just it's motivating to come back every day and be able to say to yourself, "Oh, I like going into work. I feel like I'm needed and I feel special here."
You feel needed and feel special there. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. It's funny, the recognition piece. And again, that generational differences. As a Gen Xer, listen, we were latchkey kids, right? Like fourth grade, I would walk home from school by myself and be at home for a couple of hours until mom and dad came home from work.
Mhm.
And that does not happen anymore, right?
Yeah.
So for the Gen Xers, you were taught from a very young age, just put your nose down, keep going, keep doing it, right? Keep moving forward. Uh, and even with that, I remember very specifically bosses throughout my career who have singled me out to say, hey, you did a really good job with this and this is why, or I like what you did with that. And everybody likes to be praised. Everybody likes to be recognized,
Yeah.
right? Right, Amber?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So let me ask the flexibility piece. So you talked about how you're being treated, which delves into culture, but a flexibility piece. Explain what you mean by flexibility.
Yeah, so um I'm kind of just going to compare my two jobs because that's mostly how I'm like yeah and so my other job that I used to work for, they would only send out the schedule on Sundays, and it was quite difficult because it would be for once a week, and it wouldn't give us very much time to plan the week or even tell our manager, oh, I can't work these days. But my job right now, I'm able to actually pick the days I work, which is really nice. They just I'm able to send for the next 2 weeks what days I can work and what days I can't, and then I'm scheduled based off that. And I think that being able to have that flexibility and balance also is a really big part of why I go back to a job, because if I can't balance my school with my work and my social life, then my work isn't really worth it, since I like my social life and family and friends are such an important part of my life that I don't want to have something like overbalance it.
Yeah.
I think I think when we're looking at hiring, a lot of times we're expecting, you know, the kids that the ones that we really want to hire are also the ones that are also very involved, right? They're in activities, they're in sports, they're in those are the kids that are usually the outgoing kids. And so when we hire the ones that don't have anything on their schedule and they have a wide open schedule, they're usually not the ones that we're looking for. So having that healthy balance, I think, is really important.
Mhm. And you know that the whole balance between work and life, again, boomers were all about work and everything else was secondary. Gen Xers are still a lot of in that track too. Millennials is when you really started to see a shift and the even concept of a work-life balance. With Gen Z, how much of that balance is between, I mean, obviously, listen, we have to work, right? Everybody recognizes that. Um, but that balance of when when is too far, do you think that it is shifting even more with you and your generation than where it shifted with millennials?
I would say that Gen Z probably wants more of a life and work balance. I would say that they probably want more life balance just based off like what I've seen with my friends and everything.
Some of that depends culturally too, right? Because there are some places in Europe that are working shorter work weeks and different geographic areas that put a different balance on work than we might in the US. And so some people that come from overseas and they're just shocked at the way our work week is or our time off that we give is. So I would say that that's probably not as generational as it is regional.
So I'm going to shift a little bit, Riley, and I want to ask you, when you are looking at how important is the brand or the relation or reputation of a company in determining how you're going to spend your money?
Yeah, I think that the reputation of a company is really important because that's your first impression of some place. So if your place doesn't look good aesthetically, or the staff members aren't treating you right, then you probably won't go there again. So being able to give your customers that good impression will keep them coming back, and not only keep them coming back but also recommend it to other places. So I think it's really important for your brand to be well put, and that'll just kind of grow your audience, and from that then you can change stuff and obviously grow your target market. But yeah, that's
Yeah.
I think your reputation is really important.
I think there's a reason why, you know, influencers are now a very important part of any marketing, right? Like, um, just to have somebody popular or somebody that's recognizable walk into your place can drive so much traffic that, you know, I mean, look at, you know, Taylor Swift, right? People were having Swiftie parties and just driving a ton of traffic, just riding on the coattails of the popularity or whatever the thing is for today. But trying to keep up with those trends, I think, can be challenging because they could bring home new words every day. I have no idea what they're talking about most of the time. So
Absolutely. And do you are you influenced if you see something, are you influenced by influencers, right? Are you influenced by reviews? Do you look at that before you decide to go to a restaurant or go buy a piece of clothing or any of those kinds of decisions about how you're going to use your money? How influenced are you by those influencers?
Yeah, I'm definitely influenced, especially when it comes to going to places, because I would say, um, I go to like their websites or Instagrams, and just by the photos that they use and the quality, I think that's the most important thing to me, and kind of is probably the most the priority factor in deciding, because it really shows like how much effort they put into it and what kind of vibe they're trying to come across as. And yeah, I definitely think that the trends is really important, and celebrities, that's definitely like just like the music that you're using in your place, or the like for my for at my trampoline park we have socks, but all of the socks are different colors, which personally makes me upset because it doesn't have the same the same cohesive vibe, I guess. But that's personally just me. So I would definitely say that influencers and reviews are a huge factor in deciding where to go.
Yeah. Which is something, Amber, that is has been transformative for so many businesses over, I'd say, the past 10 to 15 years.
Well, I heard somebody say the other day that you should, when you're doing food and beverage, that you should feed the camera first, right? I got a question for Rila. How many times a week do you take pictures of food?
Uh,
Probably more than you'd like to count, right?
Probably.
So I mean, I think that when you're putting together a menu, or like she said, socks, things like that, those things matter. So, you know, what it looks like on a camera matters, what it looks like on Instagram matters. So don't put your, you know, snacks in a paper boat. Make it look nice, plate it nicely. You know, those little details do matter, and they will drive traffic.
Mhm. Absolutely. And the truth of it is, that's not just a Zoomer thing, right?
Hmm.
That's not a
Oh,
millennial thing.
take pictures of food too.
We're all there now, right? We have all understood, oh, okay, that looks cool. I want to go check it out because I saw this cool review or I saw something on Insta that's like, that looks really cute. I want to go see it, right? So it doesn't matter your generation. That is something that we all understand at this point. Like, yeah, that is going to influence where I'm going to spend my money. So I want to ask you as well, Riley. Rila, excuse me, when you are thinking about your job, and you mentioned you were at a previous place and you decided to leave because you didn't have an opportunity to grow and develop.
Yeah.
How important is that growth, having a growth path in deciding on if you're going to stay in a job or when you're looking for a new job?
I think it's one of the most important factors personally, because you're having somewhere to grow gives you motivation and something to work for. Um, at the place I'm at right now, I know that I can try and grow and become a party host, or different positions. I can work up front more, while my other job, I wasn't able to have any of those um, opportunities. Yeah, just gives you something to look forward to and motivate you for sure.
I don't know if that's generational. I'm always looking for the next path too, right? Like when the ladder stops, you got to move.
There it is, right? There are so many things that it doesn't matter what generation you are, right?
Mhm.
If you want a workforce that just is gonna keep their head down, not say anything, do the bare minimum, clock in, clock out, next thing, then that's what you're gonna get.
Yeah.
If you want a workforce that is growing and developing and getting stronger, having an opportunity to grow is a part of what makes that happen. And that is true for me, for Amber, for Rila, for any generation, if there's not that opportunity to grow, then why am I here?
Yeah.
And so I think that for so much of conversations that are about the different generations and this does this and that does that, there's so much similarity that we overlook. And if we lean into that similarity, right? It's very different. And I love, Rila, that you said something that would shock a lot of people when you're talking about, well, I want to have in-person meetings. There are some things that
Yeah.
we need to be able to have a conversation about. A lot of folks would say the younger generations don't ever want to talk to anybody in person. They just want a text or an email, right?
Yeah.
It's not true. Yeah.
It's all about being connected. And I think, when you're working from home or mobily, you lose that connection. And so even having a meeting every once in a while is important, and having that in-person connection. And I think that spans the generations. But going back to what you said about, like the hiring process, I think maybe showing the people that you're hiring that there is a path, right? So when you're doing the hiring process, saying, okay, we're going to start you here, but you can work your way into these other positions. I think that is much more appealing than thinking that it's just a job.
Well, ladies, we're coming up at the end of our time today, but I don't want to leave without kind of checking in. We started this conversation, Rila, with you saying about one of the things that you think is misaligned with describing your generation. What is it that you're most proud of about your generation that you wish more people knew?
I think that my generation can really, I think that we have a lot of passion for stuff that is kind of not as talked about, and it's really important because the passion can go a long way. So whether that's for your job or social stuff, either way, the passion for working is something that I think our generation has. And if we really get to a job that we like, our passion will lead us all the way up and grow.
Well, ladies, thank you so much for your time today, and so many great takeaways from how different perspectives of different generations and what we're looking for isn't all that different, right? And let's give the Gen Zs a chance, right?
Yes, please.
All right. Well, thank you, ladies, for being here. I appreciate y'all.
Right. Thank you.
Well, we hope today's conversation has given you some practical tools to help you sharpen your edge and accelerate your growth. If you're ready to grow your team, your business, or yourself, contact us at thegrowthprogroup.com and set up a free growth call with one of our coaches. Once again, a special thanks to our sponsors, Embed, Party Center Software, ANA Global, Betson, Simnox, Schaefer, and Roller for all that they do to help us bring you the GrowthPro Edge. And until next time, I'm Denise Killian with the GrowthPro Group. Keep learning, keep growing, and keep striving for the extraordinary.